we'll start by going over EFT setup and processing. First, paperwork, application setup and process. So test, reviewing of documentation, and just doing a simple point of sale transaction. And then finally, we need to run EFT, and that would be how to prep your EFT, how to run EFT, how to finalize your EFT. So the first two things we're going to get into right now are the setup process and how the data moves. First, you as the client, in our case, you go girl, fills out and faxes or emails the forms. One form is going to XCharge, another form is going to BankServe. The XCharge form, when they get the form, they're going to do some paperwork on their side, and then they're going to send what we call a tear sheet over to BankServe. If you're not using XCharge, you can request a tear sheet from your merchant processor and have them send that over to BankServe to the same fax number or email address that you use. BankServe will take that information. They'll be able to set up what they need to do to actually connect with the merchant processor, in this case, XCharge. BankServe will then send Shape the code sheet we need to set up your system with the right codes, so we're successfully passing the information to BankServe. Once we get the information, we're going to set up your system, and then we're going to email you instructions to test, the login and password you'll need to get into your gateway, and EFT instructions that you should read over, go over, make sure you understand the concepts, and start scheduling your coaching sessions for follow-up. Now let's talk about data flow. So what's going to happen is maybe somebody comes into your facility and buys a bottle of water. You're going to scan the bottle of water or somehow enter it into your system, and it's going to take that transaction and send it over to the gateway. BankServe will send us an approval code or a decline. If it's a decline, the process ends. As long as we get the approval code, the payment information is going to continue along its way. If it's a credit card, it's going to go to the merchant processor, and then the merchant processor is going to put the money in your bank. If it's an e-check, it's going to go straight through to your bank. And that's a point of sale transaction, whether you're collecting a first payment on a membership, payment in full on services, or a bottle of water, credit card, or e-check. If we're talking about a repeating payment, a monthly payment on either a service or a membership, or a quarterly payment, or any kind of payment we run as a batch, you'll create that in a batch, whether it's weekly, monthly, daily, twice a month. You'll send that batch up to BankServe. BankServe is then going to do the same thing. ACHs are going to go right to your bank. Credit cards will go to the merchant processor and then into your bank. BankServe will let us know if any of these transactions failed. You'll download the file to Shape, and you'll know who failed. So let's talk about filling out the forms for your merchant and or gateway. And again, the merchant is optional. If you have one, that's great. All you have to do is worry about the gateway part of this. So first link here, if you click here, a YouTube video will come up basically describing why you need the merchant and gateway. This link here is going to bring you to the instructions, and this is how to fill out the forms. And you'll get a document on how to fill out the forms. Second link is the merchant form, and you're going to fill out the form. There's a fax number here to fax this to, and just get it to Craig Rainey's attention. If you have any questions about the forms, please contact us. The third form is the gateway form, which is BankServe. Right? Now, read this. Basically, it's just going to tell you what's about to happen. These check boxes basically check the items as you go through it. You do not need the scanner order form. If you're not tax exempt, you don't have to worry about that. They are asking for a voided check or a bank letter. They need a driver's license of the person signing the document. So the naming that you use on the document should match that driver's license. Total transact usage information. They're going to just give you some background information about what's about to happen. And you may or may not be asked for these items. And you're going to fill out the form. Questions to go through, identifying information, who your contacts are. This authorized contact information. It may be the owner. It could be a GM. It just who is the person who's going to be doing and resolving problems with financial transactions. make sure that information is provided. If you need to give additional information, just include it on the rest of the form. Here it's going to ask you what you're expecting your transactions to look like. Average number of transactions a month, average size of a transaction, average volume. If you're already in business, you should be able to estimate these numbers pretty close. If you're a new business, kind of look at your 3 to 6 month plan and use those numbers. So that's really 3 pages to fill out. The last 4 are just information you should be reading to understand what you're signing. And that takes care of the email that you received. Subject line, your business name, merchant gateway setup forms and instructions. So let's talk about some training. Your gateway form is processing, and you'll have a couple days where you can start prepping to do EFT. Click on your administrative button of your system and come over to schedule a webinar. And you'll want to sit in on a 102 EFT forms. So we go over forms. You can take this before you do your forms. We talk about setup, testing, and questions and answers. This is a good time to sit down. We offer it at least once a week. Click on register, fill out the form, let us know who you are, and register. And you'll be all set for that class. Along with that, you're going to want to set up a coaching session to kind of just go over your personal system and see how things are going to work for you, show you how your scheduled payments are set up, what has to be set up for each user as far as having their billing information in the system. For that, you'll want to book a coaching session. Click on the coaching session link, check availability, grab a day and a time, and continue. It'll ask for your system name. We'd like to know your URL, and we'd like to know your name. So get us that information. Let us know the topic is EFT, and you'll get an appointment with GoToMeeting, and we can meet with that. You'll do another coaching session for your first EFT. So if you're doing your EFTs on the 1st and the 15th, and we're in the middle of, I happen to be in the middle of June right now, so you plan to be live on July 15th. Well, let's do the first batch together. And we just ask that you set up a coaching session, and we'll walk you right through the process. Let's take a look at the email you'll be receiving once Shape has set up your documents. So this will be sent to you. It'll have your URL in here, and it'll tell you action needed. First thing you'll notice is that you get another link to modpay.com. Your client ID, your client code, which keep those handy, but they're not exactly what you need right now. You're going to have something similar to your system name, and your password to start will be 123modpay. Basically, we ask you to test the process. Below are the instructions. We want you to confirm that your credit card is set up correctly within your system. You'll click on Tools, System Settings, Card Type, Edit, and then you're going to check off the type of credit card you accept. Read through and understand the attached EFT document. I'll bring that up in a moment. You want to set up a coaching appointment? We give you a quick link to that. And you'll see that the prompts for booking an appointment come up. It should be familiar to you. And then we suggest you do it with your Visa or MasterCard, and then again with Amex and Discover, because if your Visa works, your MasterCard is going to work, and then we know the connection's good. You want to run your Amex and Discover just to make sure that you're accepting them. You may think you signed up for an Amex, or you might have thought someone who was doing the paperwork signed you up for Amex, but they didn't. So test the Amex and Discover. The test we have you do is we put $1 on your prepaid account, which means you're going to charge a $1 to your credit or debit card. That $1 is going to go to the gateway. You can log into the gateway and see it with your ModPay login up here. That $1 then is going to go from ModPay over to your merchant gateway, which you may or may not be able to log in there, and then into your bank. So you can watch that dollar, see how long it takes, what your expectations are going to be, how long it takes to get from Shape into your bank. And this just, we have you add yourself into the system if you haven't. You put $1 on account. This is also going to show you how to do a point of sale transaction. You're going to get a message saying the purchase was successful. If it was not successful, reply to this immediately with the date, the time that you ran it, and any error message that you received. and then we give you a way to take a look at the financial transaction, you're going to get a successful transaction message. But if you want to go back, financial transaction report, if anything comes up, you can book a coaching session. You can reply to this email and just let us know what we can do for you. Let's talk about what has to happen for each client in order to create or set them up to be able to do EFT payments. And that would be repeating payments. We want to go to functions, users, find users. So you want to locate the user that obviously you want to charge. And this can be done while you're adding the user. You'll learn a lot about this as you go through training. And I'm just going to look somebody up here. And we'll go into their member status, and I'm going to click on details. This page should look more like what you're used to seeing when you add a user. And I'm going to go to billing, and it's within the billing information that we basically turn on their EFT. So we would click on change EFT settings, and we're going to pick either credit card or e-check. I'll leave this as e-check. This is left at none unless we've discussed something special for your facility. Then, whether it's e-check or credit card, you're going to have to either provide the credit card details or the bank account details. And you would just click edit or add a card, add an account. That's what you have to know about EFT payment settings, e-check or credit card, and then put the account information in. With both those items done, we would then want to make sure that they own a membership or a service with money due. So if I look up Portello, I see there's a membership, and I can just go right to schedule payments, and you'll see that on the 27th, or in this case, the 27th of every month, there's a balance due of $125. So as long as this person owes money and they're set to an EFT preference with account information in it, they will be included in your EFT billing. Now let's go over creating a batch. While you're watching this, the idea isn't that you're going to memorize the steps we're about to provide you, although you could go off on your own and probably do it. We really ask that you set up a coaching session and do this live with us. Functions, EFT, create batch. You can set the dates that you want to run the batch for. So it might be a 15-day period. It could be a 7-day period. You might run a batch every day and just change this to equals and do it for a specific day. Okay, last name starts with, this is rarely used unless you're looking to really run EFT on a particular letter of the alphabet. Items per page, you can leave that at 100. If you run into certain difficulties, we might suggest you change it, but generally 100 works well for everybody. User status. So do you want all users? That would include active, inactive, frozen. Do you want just active? Do you want just inactive, just frozen, or active and frozen? Billing type. So this is your membership services or your counter, or do you want to do all three? Generally, all three is fine there. Depends on your business model. And then your payment method, credit card, bank draft, insurance, or combined. Now, when you choose combined, you're doing credit card and bank draft together. We suggest you do one at a time. You do your credit card batch and a bank draft. Sometimes for the first batch, we have you do it together, and then the reason why you want to separate it becomes really clear. And what happens is that your credit cards are going to come back approved probably within about 24 hours. Your bank drafts are going to come back approved in 3 to 5 days. So you'll be able to finalize the credit card batch before you can finalize the bank draft batch. So that's the difference. I'm going to leave it combined for our purposes. And EFT groups really are generally not used by most clients. So if you're going to use it, it's an extra step. So you might want to talk to us before you decide to use them. This purple bar here tells me that this person's in another batch. So that hasn't been finalized yet. So I want to edit this, uncheck, save. See, now the purple warning goes away. And I am going to remove these other people. Now, why are these other people checked, or, why am I unchecking them? Well, look, this person has an e-check and there's no account number on file. So I'm going to uncheck that and click save. Now, what do these colors mean? Well, what you're looking at is the cycle rate. So that means they either own a membership or service that bills X number of dollars every period. So this one's $39.99, $7.20. So this is the cycle rate. Here's their open balance. So the first thing you're being told is, look, your cycle rate doesn't match your open balance. That might be quite legitimate, But the red box is telling you, hey, we aren't charging you everything that's owed, or we're not charging the client everything that's owed right now. So we're charging them their cycle rate, and we're just letting you know. So if you want to collect that $14.15.48, click Edit, change this to 1548, and save. And now you're collecting it. Notice the red went away. So with everything resolved over here on the left, our Process EFT button is available. We click, it asks if we're sure, choose OK. Now, as we did that, what happened was, for these accounts, a record was written to them saying that they have an EFT payment pending in batch number 51, and it gives it the line item. So this is going to be line item 1, 2, and 3. You're then going to download this file. Click on the download. I don't even want to open it. It just says show in folder, and I'm just going to bring it up. By clicking show in folder, I can see that it's in users Terry download, so I'll know where it is when I want to pull it up. And then you're going to log into ModPay. You'll log in. On the left, there's a button that says upload batch. It'll give you the ability to browse. You're going to navigate to where you saved it, and you're going to click upload. That file is going to process. You're going to come back here in a day or 4 days, log back in. There's a file you're going to download. There's a report document there. You're going to download report number 4, and you're going to go back into your shape system. Now that report you're downloading is going to be a report of anything that failed. You're going to click import fails, read the instructions. You're going to choose file, load file, and it's going to process the fails. You can also do the fails manually by clicking modify. You're going to uncheck anything that failed. So I'm going to take Bob's shape, and he failed. I'm going to save changes on this page. I may have more than one page worth of information, so I'm going to save on this page and go to the next page. Save on that page, go to the next page. So once those things, everything was saved, I'm going to end modify. So now I'm going to just process Steve and Stuart as paid, and Bob is going to have a record written to his file saying failed EFT. And I'm going to click finalize. Continue. This action is irreversible. If you do it accidentally, we can fix it. It's just not reversible. So, and that's your completed batch. Anything that failed EFT can be found in reports financial failed EFT transactions. And as always, anyone who owes you money is going to be in the corresponding open balance report. So they can be worked from there also.